sports. We are the Fourth. We are Florida.
Sunday in Miami, whether you're motoring around on your boat or you're walking into Marlins Park. Baseball today here on Fox Sports Florida. The Marlins and the Braves finish off a three-game set. Giancarlo Stanton and Evan Gattis will try to get a win, a very important win. The Marlins got game one last night. The Braves in extra innings got game two. Bonnie's in the lineup for the Braves. Julio Teheran and Brad Hand is your pitching matchup. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Welcome to Miami. The Marlins will try to do something they haven't done since mid-August, and that's win a series. But it's not like they haven't had their chances to do it.
Yeah, too many times since that opportunity, the Marlins have won the first game of a series and then have struggled the next two. Not an easy assignment today, but they still have that opportunity.
This season series between the Marlins and the Braves is darn near even. But you put Evan Gattis and take him out of the equation, and all of a sudden the Marlins would be big winners. Gattis again last night hurt the fish.
I'll tell you what, it's absolutely amazing what Evan Gattis has done. Here's earlier in the year, Archimedes Caminero, it was a game winner in Atlanta. A.J. Ramos gave up the base hit to Evan Gattis. In a ball game at home against Steve Cishek to the base of the home run sculpture, that won the game. Against Evaldi, the home run in Atlanta. I'm telling you, 5 game-winning hits Evan Gattis has put together against the Marlins. And, of course, last night, the home run that was the eventual game winner. He has done all kinds of damage. He's 4 for 9 in this series. And for a guy, Rich Waltz, who for 3 years lived in the back of a pickup truck, he's done pretty well.
It was an incredible story. A guy that essentially dropped out of baseball for a lot of reasons, then figured he wanted to play it again, and 3 years later, he's a star in the National League. All right, the starters in this one. Who's going to try to get Evan Gattis out? Well, it's Brad Hand. Meanwhile, the Marlins have to solve Julio Teheran. They have not throughout his career, and especially this year.
Well, Teheran's been one of the best. His ERA's in the top 10 in the National League. Brad Hand's last start was against the Rockies in Colorado.
All right, there you go. It's Teheran, it's Hand, it's the Marlins, it's the Braves. It's Sunday, and the Fish need to win a series. Well, Sunday baseball for you with Atlanta and Miami. and a season series. And it's a big game. Let's head out to Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine.
It absolutely is a big game. Thank you very much, Rich, and good to be with you again here on this Sunday afternoon as we get going here. But a strange thing, Casey McGee last night getting 2 hits, apparently extending his hit streak to 9, but no.
Apparently. Apparently is key word there.
Let's see what happened with Casey, and then we'll look at some of the RBI leaders for this ball club. He lost an RBI, but last night he knocked in a couple. That's good to see the bat coming around. But much better hitting lately.
Absolutely.
9-game hit streak, I thought.
Getting some RBIs. So many at the beginning of the season, but he's been tailing off a little bit at the end. But now he's back, hitting the ball well. However,
what happened here?
I mean, flashback a couple nights ago against the Mets. Everyone's thinking, all right, base hit, RBI, single.
That's what it was called then.
That's what it's called then. But unfortunately for Casey McGee, it was changed.
Today we got that news.
Very seldom do you see a hit change to an error. Usually it's the other way around.
So he gets 2 hits and loses his hitting streak all in the same day somehow. In fact, we told Casey about it, and that was the first news he got of it. So there's no big email or wire service coming from Major League Baseball. But he still is ahead of last year's leaders for the most part, for completely, as you look at 2013 and 14 RBI leaders.
Yeah, there is no comparison between last year and this year. The Marlins really struggled to score runs last year. Giancarlo Stanton leading the way this year, 42 more RBIs than he had all of last season.
Wow.
Marcell Ozuna, Casey McGee all picking up that slack and providing some offensive punch for the Fish this year.
All right, and Casey will try to get a couple of those RBIs back, or at least one more after losing one overnight somehow with that very difficult score. I don't know how you give due to an error on that play. That's bad. All right, coming up here, Game 3 of this series. It's the Braves and the Marlins. The season series is at stake. We'll have it for you. We'll talk about it in the post game as well.
Sports Florida is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By AT&T Uverse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PICK-AT&T. Mobilizing your world. By Checkers. Checkers brings big flavor for a small price. Feed your craving for quality for only $1. Cha-ching. And by your South Florida Honda dealers and sfhondadealers.com. Marlins and Braves worked overtime last night, extra innings. The Evan Gattis homer in the 10th was the difference in the game. And, of course, Gattis in that lineup, you know he is. Jan Lexus brings it to you. Against lefties, Justin Upton really good. He's behind Freddie Freeman with Hayward and Goslin opening Gaddis in the 5 spot. Chris Johnson is at third base. Andrelton Simmons at short. Emilio Bonifacio getting a start in center. Julio Teheran hits 9th.
No, we talked about it, Rich. Brad Hand's last start was on August 24th, a ball game at Coors Field against the Rockies. 4 1/3 innings, gave up 7 hits and 4 runs. He did pitch in between that time. He had a 3-inning relief outing on the 1st of September against the Mets right here at Marlins Park. So ready to go. Hopefully he can give Mike Redmond some quality innings here this afternoon. He's never beaten the Atlanta Braves in 5 games, 3 starts in his career.
And for the Marlins and for the Braves, certainly an important ball game as September continues. The wild card races tighten. The Braves, with their win last night, were able to pull even with the Milwaukee Brewers for that second wild card spot. San Francisco holds the first. Pittsburgh is a half game back. Miami has fallen 5 back. And Pitcher Penny brings you the first pitch. Hand delivers to Jason Hayward. It's a Braves team that struggled to score runs in Philly on Monday and Tuesday. Ball in the air. Echeverria has to dance around Jerry Lane, the second base umpire, and makes the catch.
And here's a look at the rest of the defense for the Marlins this afternoon. There's Yelich, Ozuna, and Stanton. One of the, if not the, best young outfield in the major leagues. Casey McGee, Garrett Jones at the corners, Etch and Solano up the middle, and Salty behind the plate.
Now Hand goes to work on Phil Goslin, the University of Virginia product, who gets a start at second base. And Goslin takes a strike, 1 for 4 in this series. When you look at Sunday lineups in baseball, oftentimes you see a variety of guys getting days off with reserves in there. But as you look around today and you see teams that are involved in pennant races still alive in the wild card like the Marlins, everybody's playing. Nobody's getting a day off. Here's Freddie Freeman. And the Braves had all their bats in as well.
Now I think we're seeing a little versatility in Goslin. He started at third base last night.
Freeman after the first pitch. Yelich is over. And a nice start for Brad Hand. That's a 5-pitch first inning. Julio Teheran gets the ball next. Brought to you by H.H. Gregg. All right, let's dive into Miami's lineup as the Fish 4 under right now. Lead it off with Christian Yelich. Yelich on a 9-game hit streak. Donovan Solano, Giancarlo Stanton. McGee, you saw earlier, had that hit taken away. A real odd situation. He's in the cleanup spot. Marcell Ozuna, Garrett Jones back in the lineup. He's been missing for a few days. Jared Saltalamacchia, Danny Echeverria hits 8th. Brad Hand slotted 9th. J.M. Lexus brings you the Marlins lineup, and it's a tall order for that lineup because Julio Teheran has been good this year, an all-star, and great against Miami.
You know, one of the things that I like to talk about in a starting pitcher is consistency. And when you look at what Teheran has done this year, 27 of his 29 starts. So today is his 30th start. 27 of those have gone 6 innings or more. He's had 2 or more wins in each month this year. His earned run average is 9th in the league, and he's a tough customer out there.
Christian Yelich, Donovan Solano, Giancarlo Stanton. Collectively, the Marlins have not beaten Teheran. He's 4-0 in 7 career starts, an ERA in the low 2s. Individually, the Marlins don't have anybody that really stands out with good numbers against this right-hander. But as you know in baseball, every now and then things turn. And the Marlins are hopeful that today is the day that happens against Teheran. Yelich 3 for 13 in his career against this righty. Mike Estabrook calling balls and strikes. Sean Barber at first, Jerry Lane at second, Hunter Wendelstedt is at third base. Yelich up the middle, diving stop, Goslin, and no chance to get Yelich. 10-game hit streak. Marlins have their leadoff man aboard.
Got that hit streak out of the way early. Showed some of that Yelich speed, even though it was a nice grab by Goslin. There was no way he was going to get Christian Yelich.
Teheran has a good move, so base runners need to be aware at first base. Now Solano climbs in. Solano 2 for 9 in his career against this righty. We'll see how the Fish play it early on. Solano smacks it foul. Donovan Solano has had a really nice year against the Braves. See his season numbers. Was 0 for 4 last night, but had 4 hits on Friday night in the first game of the series.
I think we've seen too, Donovan Solano, even if it gets to a 2-strike count, he will try everything possible to try to shoot a ball the other way. That time pitch was way inside by Teheran.
Since late August, 25th to be exact, he's 6th in the National League in hitting with a .381 average. And of course, these two share the home front. They're both from Colombia. I believe the number of Colombian players in the big leagues up to 14. That's the number that have been able to get from Colombia and play in the big leagues. Edgar Renteria, of course, maybe the most well-known Marlin out of Colombia. And Solano is out of the same hometown as Renteria. There's the move.
Wow, that's a quick one. And certainly all the Marlins know it, and certainly Perry Hill reminds every base runner who gets down to first base about it.
That's close.
Yeah.
That may be reviewed. Freddie Gonzalez is on his way out. Freeman called for the review. The Braves have looked at it, and Freddie Gonzalez says he wants it reviewed. And that quickly to get out there and ask for the review does not bode well for Christian Yelich.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Phantom Cam has the slow motion look, and it looks like the glove got him before the fingers got to the bag.
Well, Freeman really quick at getting the ball and getting the tag down. And it looks like there he got him. Haven't touched the bag yet. Hasn't gotten to the bag yet. And it looks like the glove is on him.
Wow, how close is that? If you don't have that super slow-mo look, you could see the arm move before the fingers got to the bag. He's out. So Yelich gets picked off. No one better in the game right now as far as right-handers in picking off runners.
Yeah, and so much of that too goes to the first baseman as well in making the catch and tag.
Braves will hold on to that challenge. That's a great point, because normally it's a lefty first baseman that has the really quick catch and tag. But Freeman is really good with the feet and with the hands.
That's only the second time that Christian Yelich's been picked off all year.
And Solano swings and misses. And a promising inning is now got 2 outs and nobody on. Braves defensively.
Justin Upton, Emilio Bonifacio playing in center field today. Jason Hayward, the right fielder. Chris Johnson, Anderson Simmons, Philip Gosselin, Freddie Freeman, we've talked about, and Evan Gattis has caught all 3 games of this series.
Stan takes a knee-high fastball for a strike.
This is kind of, Rich, the seasonal rubber match. The Marlins and Braves, 9-9 on the year.
Stanton fouls it back. One thing Tehran will do is he'll give up long balls. Start number 30, he's given up 20 homers. He's 0-2 on Giancarlo. And that just missed.
So many times we see pitchers with 2 strikes on Stanton. They'll go slider away. Tehran just tried to paint a fastball and it just missed off the plate.
Breaking ball. Stanton turned on it, but a little early, and he lifts it foul and out of play.
Yeah, that was a hanger, but it really hung too much inside. And when you see a pitch here, well, your eyes light up, but it stayed way inside and tough to keep that ball fair. Stanton gets his hands in all right.
A swing and a miss, and Stanton goes down. Julio Tehran is in the house, and a scoreless first.
Béisbol es presentado en español vía SAP por Kendall y West Kendall Toyota.
Taste of Miami on a Sunday, which reminds both of us that we haven't had lunch yet.
Well, that also reminds me of Jose Fernandez, too.
Won't that be nice next year when he rejoins the rotation?
And are those things great?
Brad Hand threw 5 pitches in the first. The Braves were on him early, whether it was a scouting report. Greg Walker, a fine hitting coach for Atlanta. Scott Fletcher, his assistant. See if they're a little more patient here. And Justin Upton takes a fastball for a strike. Evan Gattis, Chris Johnson also coming up in the second. Talked about Tehran giving up home runs. Hand has allowed 6 home runs in his last 3 starts. He did not allow a homer in his first 7 starts. And it's been a while since he has started a game in Colorado on the 24th. But you know what? He looks plenty sharp right now.
He sure does.
Put down your 2015 Marlins season ticket deposit and walk off with half of your deposit in complimentary 2014 tickets. You only have, one homestand to go to take advantage of this. Ticket plan starts as low as $380. So start saving today, 1-877-MARLINS, or go to marlins.com/tickets.
Boy, he's pounding everything. Breaking balls, change-ups, fastball.
Well, somebody needs to do something different to this man, Evan Gattis. Little tapper at Echeverria. Over, has it, gets the out. Gattis with that big home run last night. He had 3 hits. The homer in the 10th decided the game. Copyright telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins. Even on a Sunday, you can't reproduce or retransmit it in any form. And if you have an account or a description of the game, you can't disseminate it without the express written consent of the Marlins.
Not even on Sunday.
No. You can change the verbs, but you can't use it without the authorization of the Marlins, the commissioner of baseball. And Tootie the Fruity is here, the clown.
You got to go through Tootie as
right.
well.
A Sunday fixture here at Marlins Park, making his balloon animals. Chris Johnson bounces it to third. McGee around it, throwing on the run, right on the money. That's 7 pitches. That's 12 pitches in the first 2 innings. Nicely done. New Sports Network, the place to turn Before every slam, every goal, every game, America's pregame only on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Tune into America's pregame weeknight 6 Eastern only on Fox Sports 1. Find Fox Sports 1 on your cable satellite provider. Just go to foxsports1.com. Jared Cozart, Chuck Hernandez in conversation right now. We will be joined live by Miami's fine pitching coach, who has done a terrific job this year with a young rotation, and really interested to get his thoughts on Cozart and his beginning as a Marlin, because he's just been absolutely lights out. Now 4-1 in 6 starts with a very low ERA. Casey McGee climbs in. And a high fastball.
It's never a good start for a hitter's day when he comes into the clubhouse and he finds out he's had a hit taken away from him and an RBI.
Yeah, that was a little disarming, wasn't it, when we saw it in the notes first, and McGee obviously wasn't aware of it until he got into the clubhouse, that an infield hit against Jacob deGrom, which drove in a run, extended a hitting streak, and all of those good things. Apparently either the Mets or deGrom's agent or somebody appealed, which you can do to Major League Baseball in New York, and they took the hit away from McGee and gave an error to Lucas Duda at first base. It was a bang-bang play. It was a low throw. Duda tried to scoop it. The ball was right. As you take a look at it,
we've seen it a couple of times. It almost looks as if Casey beats this, even if he catches the ball. Right there. Even if he catches the ball, Casey McGee beats that play. And that's just unfortunate. You had a good point. You asked me before the game, can you have it reviewed again?
Right. I mean, can he appeal the appeal?
Yeah.
I mean, can McGee's agent get on the horn, or the Marlins get on the horn and say, hey, wait a minute here. I know Jacob deGrom is trying to get Rookie of the Year and all that, and that helps his ERA out. But Casey's got to get paid next year, too. Fastball misses in. Craig, you've got more?
Well, that's a great point you made, Rich. They should be able to appeal the appeal, just like in the law business. But I told Casey today he had not heard of it until I gave him the bad news. I said, I didn't mean to make it a rough Sunday morning on you. He said, how could that be? So he said it was the strangest way he's ever lost a hitting streak. He thought he had a 9-gamer going into today.
Way to make his day, Craig.
Yes, I felt bad.
Here's the 2-2.
He shook it off. You know, Casey.
McGee drills one left field, and it's caught at the track.
Man, he's done that how many times this year?
Yeah, he's thinking to himself,
wow,
I lost a hit, and I just hit a ball about 360 feet right on the nose. And there's an out here in the second. Marcell Ozuna comes up. I will say, though, I like the system. I like the way that you can appeal hits. It used to be a lot of pressure on the scorekeeper. Oftentimes the manager or somebody would call the scorekeeper after the game, and the scorekeeper would go down to the office, discuss it with both managers. Ozuna apparently came up to the plate either with the wrong bat or one that was somewhat broken, much to the amusement of Tehran. Now it's New York, who certainly an independent group looks at the play, looks at the video, and goes from there. Ozuna up the middle. Goslin has it and throws to first. The Marlins have barreled a couple balls up here in the second. Here's Garrett Jones.
Yeah, Mike Redmond mentioning the other day, thought a couple of days for Garrett Jones, and with the off days really had 3 days just to try to regroup. A lot of it mental, some physical, working on some things, but it's been a struggle Since the All-Star break, Garrett Jones just .206 batting average, along with 3 home runs and 10 RBIs.
And he's not played in the series. Jeff Baker had the start at first base last night, had an RBI hit. And Jones taps it back to the mound. Justin Bour got the start in game 1, and he was 2 for 5, an RBI double. Braves and Fish scoreless so far. Afternoon in Miami proper. If you're not on the beach, you should be here at the Clevelander. Well, camera 12, it's a busy sports day, that's for sure. Braves at Marlins here at Marlins Park. And Brad Hand has opened his day by getting 6 outs on 12 pitches. 11 of his 12 pitches have been strikes. And that one misses in to Andrelton Simmons. Emilio Bonifacio and then the pitcher Julio Teheran for the Braves, who are at 74 and 68. And I think for most Braves fans, the focus has been on the wild card over the last couple of weeks. Washington's hot play kind of took care of that, but the Braves actually are 6 games back now. The Nationals have dropped 2 in a row. Jones knocks it down, flips it, and Hand is there in time. A hard-earned out at first. Fan photo, if you've got a fan photo on your phone or you want to take one now, if you're at the beach or on the boat or wherever you might be, or in the Clevelander, even better. Hashtag it FL Fan Photo. And the Blue Ribbon panel has been seated and is waiting for your shots. Could be the AT&T Fan Photo of the day.
Now, Rich, when you start looking at the standings, I was surprised a little bit today, and it's certainly
there. It is. See?
Yeah, perfect. That'll okay. Send it in. It'll certainly come into play in these final few weeks. But the Marlins at one point were sitting nicely in 3rd place. All of a sudden, you look at the standings, they're just 2 games ahead of the Mets, and they're 2.5 games ahead of the Phillies. Phillies have been playing pretty good baseball lately.
Well, the Marlins have 8 games left with Washington. They have 4 in Milwaukee, and the 4 in Milwaukee for the Fish, actually, you want 4 in Milwaukee, because to make up ground in the wild card, Getting a team in front of you and being able to beat them is important. That's why this game is so enormous for Miami. It's important certainly for Atlanta as well. It's Bonifacio takes down low, and it's 2-2 to Bonnie. Series in Milwaukee opens tomorrow. 7:30 for Marlins Live. Craig Minervini, Carl Pavano will be out amongst the tailgaters, and live in Milwaukee. 8 o'clock first pitch. Brad Penny, Giovanni Gallardo, and if Brad Penny pitches like Brad Hand, the Marlins will be in good shape. Hand has been terrific early. He's retired all 8 that he's faced.
Boy, he's gotten ahead. He's changed speeds extremely well. And anytime a pitching coach sees a pitcher throwing the ball the way Brad Hand is, he feels pretty good about it.
We'll visit with Chuck Hernandez next half inning live. Here's Tehran. Boy, Brad Hand looks like he is pitching with a purpose.
Remember, there was an inning in the ball game last night that Nathan Eovaldi threw over 30 pitches. And here Brad Hand is almost through the 3rd inning, and he's thrown 22, and he actually threw a strike there that was called a ball. How about that?
Right back to him.
Wow.
Brad Hand has been terrific. 23 pitches through 3 innings. Chuck Hernandez, Miami's pitching coach, our guest when we return. The Marlins have one of the most talented and promising young rotations and a terrific bullpen this year. And a lot of the credit has to go to their pitching coach, Chuck Hernandez, who joins us now. Chuck, let's start with Brad Hand. It looks like he's really pitching with a purpose today.
Yeah, I mean, he's sticking his fastball well down in the zone, getting some curveballs over, and they're swinging. They're getting off early, so, you know, we've gotten some outs and put ourselves in position to get to the 4th.
Do you think the Braves, Chuck, have taken that game plan to kind of go early against Brad Hand?
Well, they like to go early on everybody usually. So I mean, they're not, you know, the most patient bunch. They got some guys that can hit. They swing the bat, and you know, sometimes you live by that and die by that too. So no, it's not surprising because they like to swing.
Many people think a pitching coach's job starts, you know, a little bit before the ball game, get the starter warmed up, walk in from the bullpen and all of that. But you're here early, long before a lot of people get here. Today, one of the most important things was Henderson Alvarez bullpen session. How did that go? Obviously, an oblique injury knocked him out of a start about 7-8 days ago.
Yeah, well, you know, today was a good day. He threw, you know, with good stuff. and he was able to get after it. And so now the most important thing is how he'll respond tomorrow and Tuesday, to see if it, flared it back up or if it's going to stay quiet and, get past it.
Were you looking for velocity or just that he was able to throw without pain?
Well, it's a little bit of both. You have to, the other night when he pitched, it was, very evident that, he really didn't feel like he could get on it. He tried, but, it was just too bothersome to go. So today, the main goal was just to see how it feels as he started throwing, and probably 5-6 pitches in, I said, well, he looks like the Hendu Alvarez we all know, so that was good.
Jared Saltalamacchia up right now. Count 2-1. Julio Teheran has been sharp for Atlanta.
How's it been, Chuck, monitoring a couple of guys, Eovaldi and Tom Kohler in particular, who have exceeded innings more so than they ever have at this level? How's it been watching over those guys?
Well, they're both very strong, and their arms are still fine. There's no problems. Generally, the ability to pitch a lot of innings in the big leagues comes that you have to be pretty good. So I'm not so worried about their innings. They're not losing stuff, and they're not tiring. So, they still have 3 or 4 starts left in them that, they'll throw just like they normally do.
Chuck, it wasn't a headline-stealing trade, the Marlins trade with the Houston Astros. But Jared Cozart has been absolutely dynamite. What did you see when the Marlins faced him before the trade, and what have you seen since he's arrived here as a Marlin?
Well, I have some history with Jared going back to I spent 1 year with the Phillies when he was just a young prospect, and I kind of knew what his game was about. So coming in, we had some familiarity with one another, and that might probably give him a little comfort. But really, we didn't do anything amazing. We tried to clean up a couple things delivery-wise and approach-wise on, what kind of pitcher he wants to be. And from there, he just took the ball and ran with it.
Yeah, we've had some great shots of Jared Cozart when he's in the dugout, after he's come out of games, during games. To say he's an intense competitor would be an understatement, huh? Yeah,
he likes to play. and he's pretty good at all of it. He can bunt, he can swing it a little bit, and he runs really good. So he's a real good athlete, and it's evident when he's on the mound that he likes to play.
Ground ball out to second. Phil Gosselin gathers it in. Chuck, around May or so, the Marlins bullpen wobbled a bit, and there was a question as to whether guys would be able to step up. But as we watch this season, there's been some incredible progress made down there. Whether it's a Chris Hatcher, Brian Morris has been outstanding, even though he gave up the home run last night. You have to be pretty proud of some of the guys in the bullpen this year. Yeah, well, I mean, we have some fine arms down there, and it's pretty deep as far as the quality of the arms that we can get to. So, yeah, once we got Hatch up here and Dyson, got Mo in deal, all of a sudden bullpen started to do its thing a little bit. So it's an area we feel is strong, and we like to keep it strong.
Looks like the last 2 outings for Steve Cishek, looks like he's been down and crisp with everything.
Yeah, he sharpened up. He had a little bout, a few weeks back, where it was the first year. Last year was his first year as a closer, and it wasn't a very heavy schedule. I mean, we didn't win a lot, and he didn't have to get up a lot. And this year, all of a sudden, when you're on a team that's competing and got a chance to win every night, the workload is a lot more. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the reasons that the Marlins have been competing is your work with the rotation and the pen. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Congratulations on a nice run so far. Scoreless game after 3. us in the fourth in Miami. The Braves and the Marlins. If you've got a group and you want to give them the true VIP treatment, Legends and Fiesta Suites offer the suite experience on a single game basis. And they feature all-inclusive food and beverage menus, premium seats, big screen TVs, personal service, and a perfect view of the game. 1-877-MARLINS or go to marlins.com. That's from this series. We are blessed to, here at Marlins Park, to have a terrific crew of photographers that allows our truck, the world's most dangerous tape room, to capture many of those still shots and bring them to you in the course of a telecast. We certainly appreciate their work and their help. They are not, however, eligible for the AT&T fan photo of the game. Brad Hand, second time through. Hayward, Goslin, Freeman. And Hand throws a strike. Brad Hand has been terrific. He's retired all 9 that he's faced. He got 3 fly ball outs in the first, a strikeout to start the second, and then 5 straight ground ball outs. And he's got another jam shot. Jones steps on the bag and gets the out.
I think always the intriguing thing about Brad Hand, and you and I have talked about it a lot, he's not your basic soft tossing lefty. He's got enough on his fastball that he can take guys off that curveball and the changeup. But his fastball, 92, we've seen him throw 94.
Well, I think you go back, and he's only 24. You go back to the conversation we had with a variety of advanced scouts, and the one common theme was it's in there. And I think right now he's got it on display. Goslin flied to right. That curveball, Tommy, when he was drafted, I can remember back in 2009, 2010, hearing about Hand and getting a scouting report. That overhand breaking ball was the one that the Marlins really, really liked. And he's throwing it a lot and throwing it quite well right now.
And then came back with a nice changeup. So we saw Alex Wood. We've seen him a few times this year, the Braves left-hander. And when he has all 3 of his pitches working, he's extremely tough. And Brad Hand can do the same thing without the funk in the delivery.
That would be like Don Cornelius.
Without the funk.
No, he had a lot of funk in his delivery. The host of Soul Train. I know it's over a lot of the kids' heads, but fastball misses outside.
Young kids can Google it.
Goslin has worked the count full 3-2. Freddie Gonzalez trying to get the Braves into the postseason for the 3rd consecutive season. And Goslin smacks it, fouling out of play. In 2012, the Braves were one of the wild cards, and it didn't help. They got to host a game, but St. Louis was hot, and the Cardinals beat them in that wild card game. On a hop, Solano gathers it in. That's 7 consecutive ground ball outs.
That was the first 3-2 count, too, for Brad Hand.
Marlins live tomorrow, 7:30 start in Milwaukee. It's a great place to call a game, and the Brewers, I don't want to say they're desperate, but certainly they are on high alert after a 9-game losing streak. They've started to play better this weekend. Brad Penny gets the ball for the Fish, and here's Freeman.
Talking to Brad Penny a little bit the other day, he's just happy to get some reps consistently, and hopefully he can kind of feed off the stuff that he felt he had was pretty good last time out.
Solano can't get it. Freeman has a hit. 2-out single, and that brings Upton up.
Well, Brad Penny felt the location certainly wasn't there, but the stuff a little better. Just out of the reach. And you don't usually expect Freddie Freeman. He hits the ball all over. He's a tough hitter to defend. Don't expect him to pull too much, but he got that one just out of the reach of Donovan Solano.
Justin Upton, a swing and a miss, ball in the dirt. Saltalamacchia got a piece of it. Upton called out on strikes in the second.
Brad Hand trying to beat the Braves for the very first time in his career. He's had 5 appearances against them, 3 of those starts, and he's 0-3. Julio Teheran, Rich, just happy to see his ball club get a hit, because the last time he pitched they were no hit
by a variety of pitchers. And just misses. 1-2. He just did miss. Ruben Santana, part of the Braves rotation. That one just up.
There's that 94 we were talking about. Now that's how Brad Hand, and that pitch didn't miss. That's how he can throw that curveball. If he shows you 94 up in the zone, then drops that good curveball in, that's a tough adjustment for a hitter.
Two. Bouncer in the hole and into left. And so a couple of 2-out singles. Freeman and Upton, and that brings Evan Gattis to the plate. And it also brings the Gecko into the show. The Geico quote of the game: bring it on. David Carpenter, when you have a really good feeling when he comes up in those situations, he's Paul Bunyan with a bat. You have a really good feeling he is Paul Bunyan with a bat. It's a great description. No batting gloves. Strong like bull.
Well, we talked about in the opening of the telecast today the 5 game-winning hits he's had against the Marlins this year. He's also hit 6 career home runs at Marlins Park, and that ties Ryan Zimmerman for the most by a visiting player.
I think there are 2 guys in this game who you can definitively say the dimensions of this ballpark don't bother them in terms of home runs. One's playing right field right now, and the other's at the plate.
Yeah, they're both here today.
Hand ready. And it's 2-0. Gattis flips that one into the seats. Marlins have seen way too much of Evan Gattis this year. Now the 5 game-winning RBIs against the Marlins, that's this season. And he's got 8 in his career against Miami.
See, he had a big home run against Caminero, base hit against A.J. Ramos, a home run against Cishek. Evaldi last week in Atlanta, and then of course last night. That adds up to 5.
2-1. There's the breaking ball, and Gaddis fights it off.
For Brian Morris, too, that was his first loss all year, not only as a Pirate, but as a Marlin.
Count still 2-2. Miami and Atlanta have split the series right down the middle. This is the final game of the homestand for the Fish, off to Milwaukee, and the final game of a 3-game set. The Marlins haven't won a series since mid-August. They've had an opportunity all along the way, splitting the first 2 games of series, but never being able to actually capture a series. Hands 2-2. And Gaddis pulls one foul. And you talked about Gaddis' story, just such a unique path to the big leagues. Out of Forney, Texas. Signed with Texas A&M, quit the game. 4 years he was out. Alcohol, anxiety. As you pointed out, a lot of odd jobs. Ski lift operator, janitor.
Lived out of his pickup truck.
2-2. And Gaddis swings and misses. Brad Hand with a fastball. And he strands 2 to the bottom of the 4th in Miami. Scoreless. By Palmetto 57 Nissan and Palmetto 57 Volkswagen, home of your money back guarantee. By the Florida Department of Transportation, reminding you to drive sober or get pulled over. By your South Florida Chevrolet dealers. Scoreless ball game. Pitchers duel right now. Brad Hand, Julio Teheran. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig.
And Rich, thank you very much. The one hit the Marlins got, Christian Yelich, he was picked off first base, but that's nothing new. Julio Teheran has the best pickoff move of any right-hander in baseball. In the last 2 years, it's not even close. This was his 14th pickoff victim in the last 2 years. The next righties that are close have 6. Edwin Jackson, David Phelps, James Shields, and Jacob Turner. 14, though, for Teheran. Freddie Gonzalez, the manager of the Braves, says it might be the best move he's ever seen. He says some pitchers have a quick arm or quick feet. Few have both from the right-handed side. There are lefties that have more in the last 2 years. Other managers, though, like Don Mattingly and Bob Melvin, say he balks very often to first base, which you hear often with right-handers who have good moves to first. But the numbers are impressive, and the few times you get on, you better be careful with Teheran over there at first base.
Without question, and a hard-earned lesson, certainly, for Christian Yelich. Yelich leads it off, top of the order. Donovan Solano, Giancarlo Stanton will follow in a scoreless ball game. And Yelich sends that one out to left. Upton racing for the corner, and Justin Upton gets there and makes the catch.
That's one thing. The Braves have the speed in their outfield, certainly, to cover the territory here at Marlins Park. With Justin Upton, Bonifacio, we know how he runs, and if B.J. Upton's in center, he's got speed, and Jason Hayward in right field. So outfielders that play here have to have speed, and the Braves have that.
Solano now, and then you've got Stanton. After Yelich was picked off in the first, Solano struck out and Stanton struck out. Marlins in the second hit the ball hard a couple times. McGee hit a liner to the warning track and left in the second, and Ozuna hit a one-hop smash out to Goslin at second. Other than that, not much else to report against Julio Teheran. Yelich, of course, reached on that infield hit. So that's the hit that Miami has. The Braves have two against Brad Hand.
Well, we talked about the consistency of Teheran. He's going to go over the 200 innings pitched mark today. He's almost there. He's been good at home. He's been good on the road.
And he's been healthy, and for the Braves, that's so important. They lost a pair of pitchers at the start of the season to Tommy John surgery, guys that they were depending on to be in their starting rotation and take the ball every fifth day. Brandon Beachy and Chris Medlin. And for both of those guys, it was their second Tommy John surgery. By the way, armed and dangerous inside the Marlins, all about Tommy John surgery. If you have a youngster that's playing, whether he is a pitcher or not, it's something you want to watch after the show, after Marlins Live postgame. Here's the 2-2. Solano, a little tapper. Gaddis twirls and throws and gets the out.
Yeah, I think it would be a good show, certainly for parents to watch who have young kids that are playing this game.
Now Stanton. This is, I think, one of those games for Stanton that he has to be careful not to try to do too much. Obviously, the Marlins are in deep right now against Teheran. He's 4-0 in 7 career starts. He's given up just an infield hit. On this homestand, which has been a really nice one for Stanton, we've seen him drive the ball to right field on occasion. Had a rip there, and it's 1-1.
He's got to keep that thought of right field even when there's nobody on base. We see him do it a lot with runners in scoring position. But we also know he can hit home runs to right field and right center.
Breaking ball, and you could tell Stanton is trying to put one up to the Budweiser balcony right now with those two swings. Those 7 hits on the homestand have done damage. A couple doubles, 3 homers. And he swings and misses. And Stanton goes down, and Teheran, just an infield hit. That's all the Fish have to show for 4 innings in a scoreless duel. Teheran and Hand. 3-game set. Tomorrow it's off to Milwaukee. 4-game series begins, and a big one for the Fish. Brad Penny, who got knocked around in his last start. Giovanni Gallardo gets the start for Atlanta. That one off the glove of Echeverria. Chris Johnson has himself a base hit. And he is aboard. The game tomorrow night is at 8. Checkers reminds you to get there early at 7:30 for Marlins Live.
By the way, tough for left-handers to retire Chris Johnson, who has the best batting average in the National League against lefties. Over 400. There's Brad Penny doing the charting for this one today. They'll have to make good pitches to Gallardo as well, who's a terrific hitter.
Andrelton Simmons. Braves really aren't in the area of their lineup with hitters lined up if they try to push Johnson. And so Freddie Gonzalez may be creative here with a guy that can put the ball in play, certainly with Simmons. Johnson doesn't have great speed at first. You got Bonifacio and then the pitcher spot after Simmons.
Oh, wow.
Bonifacio right in the line of fire. We've seen that. We've seen it end a career with Juan Encarnacion when he was with, I believe, St. Louis.
St. Louis, yes.
We saw Logan Morrison get hit in the eye, and that was scary. And that right there.
Because if you're Bonifacio, it's so close, you really don't have much time to react. And his heart's pounding right now a little bit.
That one went straight back.
Never will forget that Logan Morrison situation, because Lomo actually got on the plane. Remember, the ball club went up to Philadelphia, I believe, for a doubleheader.
And it was a Sunday afternoon game,
Yeah.
and it happened late in the game, and everyone thought, you're wondering how long Morrison was going to be out, because he was taken to a local hospital to be examined. And just before they closed the door on the plane, here comes Lomo coming on the plane with a black eye and the seam marks and stitches in his face, as if nothing had happened. That's when you knew that the kid was pretty tough.
Yeah, and he played.
Yeah.
The next day.
He's one of those guys that you wish for good things, and you're hopeful that he's able to find that swing. He's had some moments with Seattle this year. Runner goes, got him picked. Jones's throw is off, and I don't know what happened there. Did the Marlins stop? It almost looked like Jones stopped.
Or was a balk called?
That might be possible as well. If a balk was called, that's why Jones would have stopped. I didn't see the umpires call balk at all. Listen.
Well, the problem is everything's in slow motion. You got to pick that up to make that out. Chris Johnson doesn't run that well.
And it starts with Brad Hand. It continues with Garrett Jones. And so the Braves steal the base.
Well, the Marlins got a break in picking off Chris Johnson, but not closing the deal.
Count 2-2. Well, Hand now had to pitch with a runner in scoring position in the fourth. He gave up hits, a pair of them, Freeman and Upton, as in Justin, with 2 outs. He struck out Gaddis. Now he's got Johnson in scoring position. Simmons, a contact guy, waiting on a 2-2 pitch. Puts it in play. Etch captures it before it hit the dirt, and that's a catch in and out.
Yeah, I'm looking at both umpires, the second base umpire, Jerry Lane, and Hunter Wendelstedt at third. It was Wendelstedt at third, a little different angle. The play was in front of the second base umpire, Jerry Lane, but the angle was to Wendelstedt. He was the one who made the call.
And you know, for Echeverria, it's fortunate that he did catch it. I don't know that he's able to get back on his feet and throw Simmons out, because Simmons runs pretty well. So Johnson still at second, a good out to get for Hand. And here is Bonifacio. And you obviously have to be aware of Bonifacio trying to push a bunt, especially to the right side with a left-handed pitcher on the mound. You do have Tehran on deck, but Bonnie would certainly be trying for a base hit in that situation, not a sacrifice.
I don't think this would be a situation where he'd be. I don't think Freddie Gonzalez would want Bonifacio to push a bunt. I think in this case he'd like to see him swing the bat.
He does. Ozuna and Stanton. Stanton makes the catch. And so now Brad Hand is 2/3 of the way there, maybe even further. He has to face the pitcher. Although you go back to last night and the difference in the ball game last night. I know Gaddis won the game with the home run in the 10th. But the 2-run single by Alex Wood in the 4th was just a real killer to the Fish. That was against Nathan Eovaldi with 2 outs.
Yeah, it was a killer to the Marlins and to Eovaldi, because the 3 runs all came in that 4th inning.
And Wood, not a guy that is known as a good hitting pitcher. Neither is Tehran, for that matter.
Yeah, those RBIs for Alex Wood, his first RBIs as a major leaguer.
In a 4-3 game, they were enormous. And trying to pitch around the single and the stolen base. And he gets that one, holds it, flips it, and gets out. 5 scoreless from Brad Hand. Terrific work. Marcell Ozuna due up second. Perfect for any group looking for a great experience and a long home run. It features seating for up to 33 guests, food, drink, package options, and if you're out there with a group, drinks are on the balcony when a Marlin hits a home run into the Bowtie Bar or the balcony. Tickets start at just $20. don't know if that's Dan Money or Don Money.
Don Money, yeah.
Jersey.
Former third baseman.
Eddie Money, former rock and roll star. Or maybe it's just
well, the jersey next to it was Stanton, so Stanton Money.
Yeah, that will be substantial in the coming years, for sure. McGee probably has the best swing of the game against Tehran. He got into a fastball and sent Justin Upton scurrying back to the warning track. As impressive as Brad Hand has been, Tehran has been even better. 5 strikeouts, a Yelich infield hit on a ball hit up the middle is the only hit he's given up, and he promptly picked Yelich off back in the first. And McGee reaches out and shoots it into center. That's Bonifacio out there today.
Well, we talked about it, Rich, at the very beginning of the game. This would be a tough assignment for the Marlins hitters today.
Ozuna, a one-hop smash at Phil Goslin, Braves second baseman in the second. Watch Tehran. He's kind of the Colombian Tim Lincecum in terms of stride and extension.
Boy, look at the front side, the extension. Tehran, not a huge guy, 6'2", listed at 200, probably a little bit under that, but looks extremely flexible, and you have to be to have a stride such as that.
The Braves liked him so much they've locked him up to a long-term contract. Fastball is up. 6-year contract through 2019, an option for 2020.
Game winner last year, 14-8.
Ozuna finds Goslin again on a one-hopper. And there are 2 outs here in the 5th. Who do you like down the stretch? I mean, obviously the Marlins are trying to hang in there right now in the wild card, and they've got work to do. If they go into Milwaukee and have success, it gets them closer. But you look at the National League wild card, the Giants and Buster Posey have separated themselves. They've got the first wild card, and they're chasing down the Dodgers.
Did you see what Buster Posey's done his last 15 games? Buster Posey, last 15 games, is 33 for 65, a .508 batting average with 7 home runs and 21 RBIs.
And I think that illustrates the fact that as you head down the stretch, teams can get really cold and teams can get really hot, and things can change in a hurry. Does Pittsburgh have a hot streak in them? Well, the Brewers, after losing 9 in a row, are the Brewers going to turn it around and get going?
Yeah, I know you're talking about wild card teams. St. Louis leading the division by 4 games, but St. Louis got hot at the right time.
Jones shoots it left center field. That's a base hit. Garrett Jones around first, on his way to second. Upton had it quickly, and the throw's not in time. And Miami has a double with 2 outs on a solid piece of hitting by Garrett Jones.
Boy, that's a nice swing. It's a swing that I'm sure he's worked on with a couple of days off. It's one you'd like to see more when it pitches out over the plate. deep into that gap, but because of the speed, Justin Upton still was able to cut it off and get it in quickly. I think the Dodgers are trying to figure out where they're at. Their offense hasn't. I mean, Puig has been benched a few games. He's under 300 now. Hanley Ramirez drove in a couple of runs last night, but he's been real cold.
That's the old corollary that all the King's horses and all the high-priced players, you can put them on a roster and you can make a team out of them. But getting them to win and getting everybody to fire on the cylinders that you're expecting out of them never seems to quite work the way you want to draw it up.
Here's the irony to that. Guys having big years, guy having a career year. Justin Turner, former Met, we used to see him. He's having a great year.
Well, where would they?
Gordon.
Yeah, where would they be without D. Gordon?
Yeah.
And those are the guys that you got to have perform. 1-1 coming. Saltalamacchia, a little looper into left field. Jones, round third. Upton's throw, and he's in there. And Miami's on the board. Saltalamacchia delivers a 2-out hit.
And just enough, just soft enough that it allowed Garrett Jones to score from second base. Perfectly placed. Two left-handed bats going the other way against Tehran. Here comes the throw, but Garrett Jones scores. Ball gets in on him. It's up on the hands a little bit, but just in the right spot.
That almost hit the bat off the pine tar. Echeverria now.
And back-to-back hits with 2 outs after Tehran had retired 13 straight.
Yeah, that started with the single by Yelich to open the first, and then he picked Yelich off. Echeverria bounced to second. Braves infield is a really interesting shift for Echeverria, who we've seen send most of his hits and balls off the bat up the middle or to the right side. But every team has intelligence, every team has spray charts, and of course a lot of it depends on how you're pitching the guy.
And they have a guy out there who spots the ball pretty well.
Echeverria into right field. Saltalamacchia around second. Hayward's throw across the diamond is cut. And that's what we've seen from Echeverria all season long.
And that's what's a little bit of a surprise as to how they play him on the infield. Up. Et stays on top of it and drives it hard. Even with Brad Hand coming to the plate, Roger McDowell, the Braves pitching coach, wants to have a quick chat with Julio Tehran.
Well, as we saw yesterday, you never take for granted that you're just going to throw the ball by a pitcher. Hand is a good athlete. And so he'll be trying to just make some contact and see if he can flare one in somewhere and add to what is a 1-0 lead. You know, Echeverria, I know there are detractors and say that, you know, doesn't have a lot of home runs and such.
Yeah, but you made a good point last night with the slugging percentage compared to Andrelton Simmons, who has a few more home runs.
It's much higher. He's got 18 doubles, 10 triples, and it seems like he's hitting 275 every day for the last 2 months. He came in to this ball game hitting .275, and he's 1 for 2.
Like Christian Yelich has been in the low 290s for about a month.
Well, it's 1-0 to Hand, and Tehran obviously wants to get Hand. He would not like to face Yelich this inning. And Hand shoots one left field, but Justin Upton is there and makes the catch. That was more than a flare. He hit it pretty well. Miami gets a run on 3 hits and leads it now 1-0. Into the 6th. Jared Saltalamacchia delivering a hit. And the Marlins had a common theme there in those last 4 at-bats. Jones, Saltalamacchia, Echeverria, and Hand.
We love the Oppo package. How about that? Pitch down. Garrett Jones with a beautiful swing. He's at second base. And another opposite field base hit. Echeverria takes a high fastball to the opposite field. Hey, Brad Hand wanted to get in on the act too. He hit a line drive that ended the inning. He hit it as well as anybody, but he went to the opposite field. So a good approach that inning by the Marlins hitters.
And so Brad Hand now with a 1-0 lead, and the Braves have the top of their order coming up. Hayward, Goslin, and Freeman. 3rd time through the order for Atlanta. Hand has been able to manage the last 2 innings. While the Braves have had a runner in scoring position. They had 1st and 2nd, 2 outs in the 4th. And of course, Chris Johnson was at 2nd in the 5th with nobody out. And here's Hayward, and Hand gets a strike.
Big inning for Brad Hand. He's got himself a 1-run lead. Got back to the top of the order. Braves are going to see him for the 3rd time.
And that one gets into right center field. Hayward's thinking 2. Stanton gets there in time to cut it off. Jason Hayward has a hit. Here's Phil Goslin. He's flied out and bounced out. Now remember, the Braves were running with Chris Johnson, and a much more accomplished and swifter base runner is Jason Hayward, and he's at first. Johnson stole second, and Brad Hand actually went to first, and the throw from Garrett Jones to second was very, very late.
Well, there are a lot of times, and we saw it happen with Chris Johnson, that if runners can't get a read off a left-hander, and if they think he's slow to the plate, they'll just take off as soon as he moves. And in the case of Johnson, if he moves over to first base, they've gotten a big enough jump. They were able to steal the bag.
Going on first motion. So Hayward's hit now 4 singles against Hand. A lot of times for a base stealer too, you'll see him shorten the lead before he goes on first motion. Hit hard over Echeverria's head. That's in the gap. Yelich racing for it. Gets it. Round first. Headed to second is Goslin, and he gets there with a loud double, and the Braves are in business. With the meat of their order, Freeman, Justin Upton, and Evan Gattis lined up second and third, and nobody out.
I know you and I have both been impressed by Philip Goslin, the way he has an approach at the plate. That time he got a pitch in, hit it hard, and once it found that gap, he was able to get to second and chase Hayward over to third.
So Goslin, who had that terrific year in AAA with the double. Now you got Freeman. Miami's infield is back. Freeman is singled and flied to left.
Yeah, you're right about Goslin. 344 in AAA.
Sam Dyson in Miami's bullpen. Hand gets another strike, 93 with that fastball. Freeman has come out of his hitting coma, so to speak, against the Marlins in his last 3 games. He's got 4 hits in this series. Little tapper, and Hand keeps the runner at third and gets the out. Great pitch and a nice play. Hand did not panic.
That's part of the play right there, not to panic. He knew he had time, and watch how he gets to the ball and just makes sure there's a peak after he makes a catch. And sometimes you peak too soon. You don't want to do that. He did it just right. Gets the ball, then takes a quick peek just to make sure Hayward's still at third and gets the out.
Miami's infield still back with runners second and third, and it's Justin Upton. All he's done is drive in 91 runs this year, and Hand gets a good strike in on his hands. Upton was never able to fire the bat. It's 0-1. Brad Hand is not a strikeout guy, but right now that's at the top of his list. You got Upton looking in the second. Upton singled in the fourth. Hayward and Goslin with 1 out. Breaking ball for a strike. So a fastball on the hands, a breaking ball in the dirt, and it's 0-2 on the Braves' best run producer.
Well, he has options now. He can stay curveball. He can show him the fastball up, but if you show him the fastball, make sure it's out of the strike zone.
A lot of pressure on Jared Saltalamacchia right now. If Hand again goes to the breaking ball and bounces it. Swing and a miss. He got him. Brad Hand has 2 outs here in the 6th. He got Freeman on a little dribbler, and he strikes out Justin Upton.
2 of their best, and he's made some terrific pitches. The one to Freeman, and then came back with that big curveball to get Upton to chase it again. And give some credit to Saltalamacchia, who called it and then kept it in front of him.
Now it's Gattis, and if there's one hitter in a Braves uniform that has hurt Miami more than any this year, it's Evan Gattis. Game-winning homer last night. He has 5 game-winning hits against the Marlins this season. And Hand's breaking ball is a strike, and it's 0-1.
We struck Gaddis out in the 4th inning. Got him on a good fastball.
I like his teammates' description of him. Paul Bunyan with a bat. That curveball misses out. 24-year-old out of Chaska, Minnesota, Brad Hand.
Even when he's missed today, he's not missed by much.
Braves opened the inning with a Hayward single. Goslin's double put second and third and nobody out, and Hand has a couple outs. The runners haven't budged. Saltalamacchia is out for a visit. Hand has been on the periphery of the rotation all year long. Every now and then in, every now and then back to the pen.
It's been a bit frustrating because sometimes when he's worked out of the pen, he's worked a little better than as a starter.
He also had a stretch in the rotation of 3 starts where he was very good. Let's see what they decide on this 1-1 pitch to Gaddis. Liner left, Yelich there, and he makes the catch. A running catch by Yelich. Boy, Gaddis clobbered it too. And Brad Hand pitches out of a second and third and nobody out spot. And Miami still leads Atlanta 1-0. Of Sons of Anarchy, premiering Tuesday, September 9th, only on FX. No telling what the truck is going to blow up next. Brad Hand, a terrific piece of pitching, and then a fortunate positioning by his left fielder, Christian Yelich, with a good first step, got there, made the running catch of the Gaddis line drive, and it's a 1-0 game into the bottom of the 6th. You see the line by Hand, just 74 pitches, top of the order against Julio Teheran, Yelich, Solano, Stanton.
Well, that was just a heck of a job by Brad Hand, given the circumstances at the way that inning started.
Yelich into center field. That's a base hit. His second of the ball game. see how the Marlins play it here. Tehran obviously picked Yelich off back in the first. You've got Solano coming up here. Palmetto 57 Nissan leaderboard, multi-hit games. Yelich now with 45 of them. Stanton leads at 47. Stanton's on deck. Then you've got McGee. And we'll see if the Marlins play a little ball here, trying to pick up a run against a guy that's been on it today. Tehran has been tough until the Marlins got their run in the fifth.
Yelich also 8th in the National League in runs scored. He scored 84 runs this year.
Chris Hatcher is up in Miami's bullpen.
When Craig was giving his report on the move and all the pickoffs of Julio Tehran is exactly right, because yeah, you see some guys who are quick with their feet, you see some guys who have a quick snap throw, but he has accurate throws, plus he's quick with those feet.
I mean, even Yelich, who is simply has an average lead and is just diving back, it's bang bang almost every time.
Yes, it is. Also the way he sets his hands, the way Tehran sets his hands, they're right in a position where he can just turn and throw. He turns and fires. That's not necessarily something you can teach to every pitcher, because every pitcher wouldn't be comfortable with his hands set in that manner.
And guys, Tehran says that he knows he has quick feet, but he says sometimes I feel I don't need it. But when he sees that big lead, that's when he makes that best move. So he can even lull you with a so-so move and then the real good one.
See, Yelich is cautious with his lead right now.
Yeah, Yelich has seen the real good one.
That one in on Solano. A ball and a strike. I think the closest the Marlins have to Tehran is Nathan Eovaldi, who's given up just one stolen base this year. Pitch out. Well, the Braves were thinking hit and run.
I think the reason, because on that last attempt there was a slight lean in Christian Yelich, so put a little pressure on Tehran now to throw strikes.
Runner goes, swing and a miss, throw in the dirt. Yelich swiped it.
Perfect situation and a good call. A tough pitch for Donovan Solano on a hit and run, but a good job by Yelich not to get picked off. You don't want to get picked off on a hit and run. The pitch ran inside, but Gaddis didn't get the throw there, and Yelich picks up his stolen base, number 17 on the year.
That's the 12th stolen base against Tehran this year. So he can pick you off, but if you're able to survive that, you can swipe a bag. 2-2 to Solano. And he shoots it foul, and now Solano is thinking, put it in play, and if he can, you often, against a guy like Tehran, don't have a choice, but if he can, try to direct it to the right side.
Well, you know Tehran knows that. He's going to try to work him in with something hard.
Stanton on deck. Nobody out. Yelich at second. Solano in a right center field. Base hit. Great jump by Yelich. Round 30 comes. And he scores. And it's 2-0.
Outstanding base running. Outstanding hitting by Solano. But you're right about Yelich. He knew exactly where Bonifacio was playing. Here's the breaking ball. He didn't go in with hard stuff. That plays right into Solano's hand. Look at Yelich out there. As soon as he sees that ball hit, he knows there's no way Bonifacio is going to catch it. And there was no play at all. There it is. He didn't even look because he knew exactly. He looked before, which is what you're supposed to do. Great to see.
Now Stanton with a runner at first. Of the last 6 hitters to face Tehran, 5 of them have hits, and the only out was the line drive by Brad Hand to left. So keep that in mind. Stanton has struck out twice, and he's just 2 for 20 in his career against the Colombian right-hander Luis Avilan in Atlanta's bullpen. You got McGee, then Ozuna, then Jones. Tehran just at 70 pitches. Brad Hand is only at 74. It almost looked like Stan was trying to shoot the ball to right field.
It did. He may be trying to make himself stay back a little bit. Not a bad approach, especially when you've had trouble against a right-hander.
Pulls it on the ground and wide of third. The count's 1-2. If you're just happening by, the Marlins and the Braves finishing off a season series, which is split right down the middle, and a 3-game series, which is split right down the middle. And for Miami, running out of time to make up ground in the wild card. But they've got a team that shares a piece of the second wild card right in their sights this afternoon. And they've built a 2-0 lead. 1-2. Stanton pops it up, and Freeman has room and gets it.
Wait, some pretty good pitches to hit that at bat, too.
Here comes McGee. And a reminder that you can bring your group to Marlins Park. You've got party areas, suite rentals, special event nights, and fundraisers. Marlins baseball with a variety of group packages. 305-480-2523. Or go to marlins.com/groups. Now McGee, who is lined to deep left, fly to center, and still have Solano at first. And there's only one out. Tehran bends one in for a strike. Word out of Milwaukee is that Carlos Gomez, who took batting practice yesterday, fared well enough that he might be in the lineup against the Marlins tomorrow night. Wrist injury for Gomez.
He's been out. Pitch ran him a couple of times, but he's been out about a week.
1-1. McGee muscles it left center. Let's see if Solano can get to third. He will. And Miami continues to get to Tehran, who was untouchable the first 4 innings of this ball game. And McGee, his first hit.
And you're right about muscle. Good to see Casey McGee get to that fastball that tailed in quick enough just enough to pick up the base hit and chase Solano over to third. That's good hitting.
6 of the last 8 hitters have hits against Tehran. You see that vibration shoot right through his arms back into his torso. At the corners, 1 out. Ozuna has bounced to second twice. And the home plate umpire, Mike Estabrook, said a swing. It's 0-1.
Yeah, one of those balls, Gosselin, the second baseman, made a really good play.
Into right, base hit. Solano scores. McGee on his way to third. Ozuna's not stopping. He's got a double. And the Marlins stretch it to 3-0.
Another opposite field base hit. Nicely done by Marcell Ozuna. Even better base running to stretch it into a double. Watch this. Stays back. He stayed with the plan. Tehran thought, well, maybe I got a double play. That ball was hit hard. What he's gotten himself out of the ball game because Freddie Gonzalez making a trip to the mound. Great hitting the entire inning.
Wes Kendall, Toyota call to the bullpen. Marlins a 3-0 lead. Very frustrating to Julio Tehran.
Well, he makes a pretty good pitch, but just good hitting by Casey McGee. And then a nice stroke. Marcell Ozuna's had that swing all day. That one a double. Tehran not pleased at bubble gum and at leaving the game.
Not happy with the gum selection. All right, the Braves, rather than pitch to pinch hitter Jeff Baker, are going to have Luis Avilan intentionally walk him and flip Jared Saltalamacchia over to the right side to hit with the bags loaded. Saltalamacchia had a big RBI single for the first run back in the 5th inning.
Well, Mike Redmond pinch hitting Jeff Baker, just trying to see a need where you can maybe add on and have a really big inning. Now it's going to be up to Saltalamacchia. By pinch hitting Baker, you make Freddie Gonzalez make a decision. Do I have my lefty pitch to him, or do I have him put him on?
Yeah, you'd rather have the bags loaded, Avilan facing Saltalamacchia, than Avilan facing Garrett Jones with runners second and third. So the Braves have a shot at a double play, but the Marlins now have them loaded, and Saltalamacchia looking for something he can hit through the infield or over.
Well, Salty's RBI single in the 5th inning got him a little 5-game hit streak.
McGee, Ozuna, and Baker out there for the Fish. And Avilan bounces one to Saltalamacchia. For Saltalamacchia, at times it's been a struggle offensively, but one of the things you always have to look at with him is on-base percentage has always been a little over 100 points higher than his batting average. So he had a .339 on base, a .230 batting average coming into play today. He has walked 55 times. Stanton leads the free world in walks with 90, but Saltalamacchia is actually 3rd on the Marlins. Excuse me, he's 4th. Yelich, McGee, and then Salty, and that's in.
Yeah, do you realize Tehran retired 13 in a row? After that point, the Marlins had 7 hits in 9 batters.
Filled with Fish here, and a 2-0 pitch coming from Avila. Saltalamacchia took a rip and fouls it off. A run in the 5th and 2 here in the 6th. Tehran, in 7 career starts, has never lost to the Marlins, but he's in that position now. With the Braves bullpen on. Avilan. 2-1 coming. Saltalamacchia center field. Tagging at 3rd is McGee. Bonifacio makes the catch. Ozuna's on his way to 3rd, and Saltalamacchia makes it 4-0. And the Marlins' big inning continues.
Good job, good situational hitting. Seeing a little bit of that in this inning alone. That's been terrific. The Marlins in this series, Rich, remember the big blowout Friday night, were 10 for 21 with runners in scoring position. They were 3 for 7 actually last night, and 3 for 4 so far today with runners in scoring position.
Now you get a left-handed bat, or a left-handed matchup for a right-handed bat in Echeverria, who was singled and bounced out. Echeverria fouls it back to the screen. So a nice day for Saltalamacchia behind the plate and at the plate. Sacrifice fly, an RBI single. He's driven in half of Miami's runs.
Made some nice plays behind the plate too on some of those curveballs from Brad Hand.
Gaddis has to take that one, and it's 1-1. There's no one throwing in the Braves pen, and if Echeverria is able to reach base, the Marlins would get a Reed Johnson at bat against a lefty, which is always a good matchup as well. Echeverria out to second, and Goslin makes the throw, and the inning is over. But 3 runs, 3 big runs, and a 4-0 Miami lead. to Milwaukee. 3-city trip. The Brewers are just starting to get healthy and trying to stay in the wild card and the central run. On to Philly. The Phillies are playing much better. They've been spoiling some postseason hopes of late. And, of course, the fanatic, New York City. All 10 games on Fox Sports Florida. We finish in New York with 3 night games at Citi Field.
I'll tell you a guy we'll see in Milwaukee, Rich. He leads the league in doubles by 10. Jonathan Lucroy has 49 doubles on the year.
Jeff Baker will stay in the game. He's at first. And Chris Hatcher gets the ball now. And incumbent on Miami's bullpen, he gets some outs. Hatcher has Johnson, Andrelton Simmons, and Emilio Bonifacio.
That's amazing. We talked about, as you look at the numbers of Chris Hatcher, very solid this year. I think he's really grown as a relief pitcher. We've mentioned that many times. But Chris Johnson, we mentioned over 400 against lefties, just a 234 average against right-handers.
Johnson singled, stole a bag in the 5th. For Brad Hand, 6 innings, 5 hits, no runs. Hand didn't walk anyone, and he struck out 3. Echeverria comes to get it and gets the out. 1 out here in the 7th. Other teams involved in the National League wild card. The Pirates had a big day yesterday where they won 2 games, and they're on their way to winning again, and it's only 2 innings old at Wrigley, but already the Pirates have built a 7-0 lead. Neil Walker, a 2-run homer. Jordy Mercer, a 2-run homer. Andrew McCutchen, a solo shot. And that coming at the expense of Travis Wood, who's had a real trying season. Wood, an all-star, right? Last year, a 5.15 ERA this year, and an 8-11 record, and it could be 8-12 before the day is done. Garrett Cole, meanwhile, is on the mound for the Pirates, and he's cruising. Milwaukee's losing 2-0. St. Louis on top. Mike Dunn in Miami's pen. Jimmy Nelson on the mound for the Brewers. Adam Wainwright for the Cardinals. Milwaukee has Gerardo Parra out in center field.
It'll be our first look at Parra in a Brewer uniform.
It sounds as if, from the report that we saw a few minutes ago, Brewers are thinking about getting Carlos Gomez back in the starting lineup tomorrow. McGee gets a big hop off the Simmons bouncer. And there are 2 outs in the 7th. We check in with Craig Minervini.
Rich, thank you. Yesterday we were talking about the low averages around the Major League Baseball. How about for the National League leaders? It also is pretty surprising this year. In fact, it could be the lowest average to lead the league in over 3 decades, maybe even 4 decades, depending on what happens. The lowest average in the last 34 years to lead the league is Tony Gwynn, 313 to lead Tony Gwynn. Then you'd have to go back to Carew back in '72 at 318. Right now, Josh Harrison leads the National League at 315. He hurt his ankle the other day. It is not starting. Didn't play the second game last night. Is not in the lineup for Pittsburgh. He's at 315, and then you've got Revere and Morneau right there at 314. There's only 7-8 hitters at 300 or higher as well in the National League. So we'll see. It's still a lot to go here in the last few weeks to see what the final average is, but it could make a run at Quinn's .313 in 1980.
That one fouled back. And Craig, you look at other numbers, home runs and RBIs. Giancarlo Stanton has the best shot at 40 homers. Anthony Rizzo has 30. He's second. As far as RBIs go, there are 4 guys in the National League that have a shot at getting to 100. And one of them is a bit of a surprise, to be honest with you. Not Giancarlo Stanton at 104, or Adrian Gonzalez at 94, or Justin Upton in this game. Ryan Howard has 91 RBIs. And I know Ryan Howard has put up some big numbers, but not lately. The big man is hitting this year. Nice inning by Chris Hatcher, 4-0 Fish. Couple of young fans. Wait a minute. That's Tom Brady's jersey, right? Oh.
The Roebucks are in the house. Very nice.
Of course, they have a little New England history themselves. So it's understandable. AT&T U-verse Rewind. We had a terrific night last night. Star Wars night. The fans were great. The costumes were great. They even let us play with the lightsaber and some of the Star Wars toys. AJ Ramos got in on it. Darth Vader threw out the first pitch. Is he trying to pick up the noise off the lightsaber around the mic? Lop off someone's ear in the booth. Here in Miami today, the Marlins were in tough. They were facing Julio Teheran, who not only was good this year, but dynamite against the Fish. 4-0 with a career ERA in the low 2s in 7 starts. But the Marlins got to him. They got a run in the 5th, and they knocked him out with 3 in the 6th. Anthony Varvaro comes in.
Yeah, it looks like Jordani Valdespin will be the pinch hitter to lead things off. You know, as Varvaro gets loose, the interesting thing about all the batting averages and power numbers, when you look into the American League, it's a little different story because you have Jose Altuve leading the league with a .340 average. Victor Martinez, designated hitter most of the time, at .335. The rookie Jose Abreu, .321. And there are a number of guys. Looks like there's 7, 8 guys who could get 100 RBIs in the American League. Mike Trout already at that number. So the American League, a little different story.
Well, this year, 18 have been played between these two. And it's split right down the middle at 9 apiece. Runs per game are pretty close. ERA. The Marlins have almost a run better ERA against the Braves. Chance to win this season series, and more importantly, to win this series and head to Milwaukee with some momentum.
This has really been a tremendous season series. There have been some exciting games, a lot of close games.
Valdespin had a moment in Atlanta with a pinch hit home run. He takes a strike from Varvaro. Ron's line, 5 1/3, and he's charged with the 4 runs, 8 hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts. His ERA kicks up to an even 3.00.
And for only the other interesting note on Tehran, for only the 3rd time in 30 starts, he doesn't go 6 innings.
That's amazing. And that shows you the value outside of wins and losses in ERA, just the eating up the innings and getting deep into ball games. They get you to Carpenter and Kimbrel a lot sooner. Count 2-2.
Talking last inning about Josh Harrison of the Pirates leading the league. The last Pirate to lead the National League in hitting.
Not Bill Matlock. That's a long ways ago.
No, I don't. You only have to go back to 06.
2-2 is in. 06. Pirate and 06.
I give you a good hint.
They were struggling.
He also, this player also played with the Giants.
Before or after he was a Pirate?
I think after.
Oh, you know what? He's been out of the game, and Freddie Sanchez. You're right.
Freddie Sanchez.
He went to the Giants and was hurt. He spent almost 2 years on the disabled list. Shoulder injuries, I believe. 3-2. Valdespin fouls it back, and I think he kept hurting it every time he would dive for a ball.
It's like Hanley Ramirez.
Armed and dangerous inside the Marlins. Right after Marlins Live, our post-game feature. And a high pop-up will find the seats.
Good battle with Valdespin and Varvaro.
Reds are still waiting for Joey Votto to get back from his quadriceps strain. Finally taking ground balls, but I think for the Reds it's a little too late. Valdespin hit it well. Bonifacio is out there and makes the catch. All right, let's see what we've got for the AT&T fan photo. We saw the ladies in the Cleveland are taking. I don't know if the blue ribbon panel was able to get those on, but look at it. It's a group shot. Joe.
That might be our first nice group shot.
Joey Pucks has got to be a hockey fan, right?
Yeah. Good shot.
That is a great shot. Actually looks like Cody Ross in there. He's not. There's Yelich. Yelich, really nice sequence in the 6th inning. Leadoff single. Remember, he'd been picked off by Tehran back in the 1st. Tehran kept throwing over there. Yelich waited out the Solano at bat and then swiped second. And Solano knocked him home. with a base hit.
Well, you know how hot Christian Yelich has been over the last couple of months. On June 1st, he was hitting 240. And Christian Yelich, wouldn't just love him see him get to 300? He's at 295 now.
Well, as Craig explained, if he gets to 300, he's in the top 10. He's a guy, too, when you look at him and watch him play, especially watching this year and his improvement, he's the type of guy that could win a batting title because he gets a lot of infield hits on ground balls in the hole at short or back behind second with the great speed that he has. Pitches up, and Yelich has had such a fine year.
Hey, Rich, what's the count?
Well, he leads the universe in 3-2 counts. He's had such a fine year. On base percentage is in the upper 370s. Slugging percentage well over 400. To get that out of a leadoff hitter is really rare. He's run with success, 17 stolen bases. He and Matt Carpenter have kind of been going back and forth with the top on base percentage in baseball for leadoff men. You get a guy with speed who's on base is up in the 370s, and he's your leadoff hitter. That's what you're after. So maybe that's where Yelich ends up.
It really depends on the makeup of the ball club as to where he ends up. But right now, leadoff spot just perfect for him.
And we saw the stat last week. I don't know where he is now, but he was second in terms of pitches per plate appearance. I think Carpenter was right in front of him. In the modern game, that has a premium on it.
And we had a note the other day on 3-2 counts. He's had a few since then, but at the time his average was 329. And his on base percentage at that time, this was a few days ago, on 3-2 counts was over 500. So many base hits, numerous walks.
Yelich center field, got a hold of it. Bonifacio back, and he reaches up and makes the catch some 410 feet from home plate. Wow. Nice play by Bonifacio. That ball was hit a long way.
Good job of concentration. A great at bat by Christian Yelich. Unfortunately, ends in a Bonifacio over the shoulder catch.
Here is Solano. Solano takes in. Bottom 7. Miami up 4-0. Marlins knocking Julio Teheran out in the 6th. Sunday always a good day for the kids. Solano a line drive. Well, Marlins barreled some up. 4-0 going to the 8th.
Marlins got on the board after a double by Garrett Jones, an RBI base hit. Garrett Saltalamacchia put the Marlins up 1-0. There was more damage to come, though, in the 6th inning. Donovan Solano strokes a base hit the other way. Watch the theme. A lot of these base hits to the opposite field. Yelich coming in to score. Marcelo Zuna, opposite field. RBI double. A reoccurring role for Garrett Saltalamacchia in our game summary. Sacrifice fly. The Marlins put a 3-spot up there in the 6th inning. And right now it's 4-0 Fish.
And the Marlins dip into their bullpen a little deeper. Mike Dunn now is handed the 8th inning. Chris Hatcher was terrific in the 7th. Ramiro Pena for the Braves. Jason Hayward, Phil Gosselin to follow for Atlanta. And the Marlins are hopeful that Mike Dunn can be sharp and quick. Steve Cishek worked an inning last night, a scoreless inning. He worked the 9th. The game went to the 10th before the Braves won it.
I think we talked about it too last night, Rich. Been really good with the Russell warming up. To see Cishek the last 2 times out really get back into that good delivery, release point, balls down, breaking balls sharp.
Cishek watching from the pen. Done with a 2-1. And Pena swings and misses. If you missed it earlier in the game, Chuck Hernandez, Miami's pitching coach, was kind enough to spend a half inning with us. We went through the rotation. Chuck talking about the bullpen and how really mid-season from June into July and August, the bullpen came together. Guys got hot, and they've been very dependable since.
You hear it said so often, and I think we've seen it firsthand, how guys start to find their roles, and sometimes it takes a while. And I think when guys have settled into their roles, Mike Dunn knows what his is. Chris Hatcher, Sam Dyson know what their role is. Brian Morris.
Two.
And he talked about Cishek last year, a little different situation as a closer, with the Marlins losing 100 games. Not always called upon, and called upon a lot more this year with all the close games the Marlins have played.
High fastball, and he threw it by Pena for the first out of the 8th inning.
Now here it is, 3-2 pitch. I'm going to give you a fastball, and he got Pena to chase it. It was out of the zone, but he couldn't lay off.
Now Hayward, who singled in the 6th. 5 games back are the Marlins in the wild card, but that's behind 2 teams, Atlanta and Milwaukee. And the good news is both of those teams are down 4-0. The Braves here to the Marlins. Milwaukee at home to St. Louis. Cardinals 4-0, top 5.
Normally that's enough for Adam Wainwright. who's pitching in Milwaukee.
The other team involved between the Braves, the Brewers, and the Marlins are the Pirates. The Pirates are just a half game off the pace set by Atlanta and Milwaukee for that second wild card role. And the Pirates have a 7-0 lead. So the Marlins are 5 back. If all the scores hold, including this one, the Fish would be 4.5 back, and Pittsburgh would take over that number 2 wild card spot.
By the way, you saw that shot of A.J. Ramos, another guy who has settled in, found his role in that bullpen.
Stanton is there, and he makes the catch. And allowed out from Hayward.
And I think in A.J.'s case, he's put up some terrific numbers. He's become very dependable. So it's amazing how a bullpen comes together, as we've seen, and sometimes it takes longer than you'd like.
Braves are headed up to take on Washington after this. Marlins, of course, in Milwaukee. Pittsburgh gets a taste of the Phillies. The Phillies are playing much better right now. They're only 9 under. That's tomorrow.
Phillies have won 7 out of 10. Mets with a 3-1 lead in Cincinnati. Zach Wheeler pitching well.
And that's the other thing, is everyone, as far as the Marlins are concerned, have been looking ahead at teams above them. The Mets and the Phillies have been playing well and gaining ground on the Fish. Get into a little different climate up in Milwaukee for the next 4 days, and then into Philly, from Philly into New York. Goslin swings and misses. One of the biggest moments of this ball game came in the 6th. Marlins had a 1-0 lead. Goslin doubled, and it was Goslin at second, Hayward at third, and nobody out, and Brad Hand was out there. And Hand got out of it. Giancarlo Stanton makes the catch, and he is leading off when the Marlins get to the bottom of the 8th. And when they get there, they'll still be on top 4-0. Marlins a 4-0 lead. MLB.com at bat, iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry 10, Windows Phone 8. I guarantee you, when the Marlins get on their team plane and fly to Milwaukee, many will be checking their MLB.com at bat to find out scores, highlights, news, notes. James Russell for the Braves.
Probably be some guys getting on that flight to Milwaukee checking some NFL scores too.
Giancarlo Stanton, Casey McGee, Marcell Ozuna.
Believe it or not, Giancarlo, the only Marlin in the starting lineup that does not have a base hit today.
Russell jams him. Quickly, it's 0-2. The Marlins are going to a good hitters park for the next 4 games in Milwaukee. Stanton swung and missed and got a piece of Gaddis. And make sure Gaddis is okay. Gaddis lets him know he's fine.
There have been some rough afternoons for Giancarlo over the last couple of months, and I mean day games. He struck out 3 times today, but you love to see his teammates pick him up on a day like today.
Without a doubt. McGee had a big hit in that 6th inning. Marlins got 3 in the 6th after 1 in the 5th. And he takes away 4 hits in the series. I think for McGee, what hurt about losing that hit wasn't necessarily the hit, it was the RBI. I think he values those more than the hits.
Yeah, that and the hit streak.
That's true.
That he had going.
If you've just joined us in the start of the day out of New York, the news that that infield RBI hit against Jacob deGrom had been changed to an error. That one plants itself right in front of the plate. It's an easy play for Gaddis. And so McGee, who had a hit on that play and an RBI, it affects deGrom's ERA. So whoever made the appeal certainly had that in mind. And deGrom is a Rookie of the Year candidate.
That was the only run. He'd given up 1 run. So now no runs in that ball game for deGrom, who worked 6 innings.
Have you thought, Tommy, about appealing any of your at bats now that they have the new system in place?
I'd like a do-over on most of them.
Hayward in the right makes the catch. And a 1-2-3-8. Marlins try to close it out and win it. Brought to you by your South Florida Honda dealers and sfhondadealers.com. By Kaiser University. Kaiser University now offers degrees in sports management. Learn more at kaiseruniversity.edu. And by Florida Power and Light.
Mike Redmond may have Mike Dunn in here just for the one batter to face Freddie Freeman. But we'll see. Mike Dunn's done a good job all year against lefties and righties.
Freddie Freeman, then Justin Upton and Evan Gattis. Freeman a hit. I suspect that next June, when the Marlins are playing the Braves, you and I will be talking about the odd year that Freddie Freeman had against the Marlins in 2014, and how a guy that had hit the ball club quite well going into 2014 just had a miserable season. Our Toyota trend magically appears. Only player this season to start every game at first base for his team. 149 consecutive start.
I think we talked about it in Atlanta. He's only missed a couple of innings the entire year. Yeah, he came into this year, I believe, a .299 career average against the Marlins. That's taking a dive. 10 for 73 against Miami this year.
If you and I are fortunate to be around in another 8 to 10 years, our producer John Sulzer will throw up the all-time fish killer team, and you wouldn't be surprised if Freeman's name is up there with Rollins and Chipper and guys like that. David Wright. Line drive. Yeah! McGee goes up to get it. How about that?
You know what? Freddie Freeman can just say that's the way it's been this year against the Marlins. What a great effort and leap by Casey McGee. Perfectly timed. And as expected, Mike Redmond's going to make a move. And you think about this for a couple of reasons. Yeah, Dunn could go the rest of the inning, but you want to be able to use him. And so you don't want to blow him out just today. So he'll go to A.J. Ramos with some right-handers due up.
And you don't want the Braves to get up off the canvas either. Wes Kendall Toyota called to the pen. Freddie Freeman to line out, done with an inning and a third. Chris Hatcher had an inning in relief. Brad Hand, 6 really nice innings. A shutout, and we talked about his escape from the 6th when he got Freeman, Upton, and Gattis. We talked about Ramos's numbers last night. Just a terrific year.
Hey, every one of those numbers, looking at that resume of A.J. Ramos, are absolutely fantastic. A couple of outs away, the Braves will have been shut out for the 13th time. Give you a little perspective on that. The Marlins have been shut out just 6 times this year. San Diego leads the league. They've been shut out 17 times.
Justin Upton takes outside. A review of the homestand and the series, a preview of Milwaukee. Greg Minervini, Jeff Conine. Marlins Live, brought to you by Checkers. Inside the Marlins, Armed and Dangerous, coming up after Marlins Live. Full count to Justin Upton. Well, from here for the Marlins, it's off to Milwaukee. 4 night games, then to Philly, the weekend series, then to New York. And then the season closes 4 at home against the Nationals, 3 at home against the Phillies, 4 on the road against the Nationals. And a walk to Justin Upton. And if form holds, the Nationals at that point would be playing for home field advantage, you would expect. They lead the Phillies 3-2 right now in the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, you would think that they would be close to clinching, if not. But you're right, the home field advantage is certainly important.
Right now, if the National League were to come to a screeching halt, the Nationals and the Dodgers are tied right now in terms of home field advantage. They don't have identical records. But if they were in standings next to each other, they'd be even. Dodgers have 1 more win than the Nationals. And 1 more loss. Evan Gattis pops it up. Solano motors out and makes the catch. 2 down. Justin Upton still at first. Chris Johnson coming to the plate. Marlins Live. An out away. And then inside the Marlins, Armed and Dangerous. A.J. Ramos, a Tommy John guy, and he's part of that show as well. Jose Fernandez, Nathan Eovaldi, also in that group.
Now, you know, an out away from, number one, having a really nice series against the Braves, and from having a winning season series against the Braves.
Into left, Yelich is in, he's there, ball game. And Miami wins the series and wins a big one here on this Sunday as they take down the Braves and they take down Julio Teheran, who had never lost to the Marlins in 7 career starts until this one. And the hits spread all over the lineup. Jared Saltalamacchia drove in 2. Donovan Solano drove in a run. Marcell Ozuna with an RBI double. Casey McGee had a base hit as well. And you can't overlook Brad Hand, who was brilliant in 6 innings. 6 innings of shutout ball from Brad Hand, Chris Hatcher, Mike Dunn, A.J. Ramos bring it home, and the Marlins will head to Milwaukee with a series win here. Look at Mike Redmond giving chest bumps and handshakes as well. Let's go down to Craig Minervini.
All right, nice win. Thanks, guys, for Jared Saltalamacchia and your club to beat the Braves today. Good series to head you off to Milwaukee, Jared.
Yeah, this is a big win for us, especially against those guys who were chasing the wild card. And, at this point in the season, every win counts.
Hey, Tehran had knocked off 14 straight. Then you guys got on a little roll. What were you talking about on the bench to try and get to him? And you had one of the big hits there in that sequence.
Yeah, he's a guy you can't get too big on. You can't go out there and think he's going to leave one over the middle of the plate, because he's a good pitcher. He's going to hit his spots, stay down the zone, mix his pitches. So, it's just a grind. You got to go out there and battle every pitch.
And then a nice second at bat for you too to get that RBI in. There's a big add-on runs in the ball game like this.
No, like every run count, every win counts. And situation like that, bases loaded, less than 2 outs. You just got to find a way to get it done.
What about Brad Hand today?
Oh, he was great. I tell you what, the inning where we had second and third, no outs, that saved the game, and I think changed the momentum towards us. I mean, by far player of the game for sure.
Well, you're right on that list too, Jared. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Big game for you. Base hit, couple of RBIs. Marlins win this one. Let's go back to Rich and Tommy.
All right, thank you, Craig. Parking, $10. Tickets, $20. Missing the Dolphins opener to see Yelich. 4-0. Marlins win it. That's right.